Welcome to Turtle WoW News with Vrograg. I'm your news anchor orc, Vrograg Fishlayer, here to bring you all the server news for the week of August 15th, 2023. I took my rowboat fishing south along the South Fury River and traveled along the coast, when I found a curious island the locals call Frey Island. I'm hoping to interview some of the people here, but they all seem to just do bare-knuckle brawling. It will be an interesting cultural investigation to be sure, but enough about that. Today we have a surprisingly impactful changelog to get through, Market Watch, a little editorial piece about the recent guild-based debacle, but first we have server announcements and top stories. So let's get to it. I'm the Orc, and here's the news. Our top story today: big savings have come to Turtle WoW just in time for the end of summer. The server's donation shop now has all items 50% off for a limited time. If you've been stocking up on turtle coins, now is the time to spend them. The sale will end August 24th. Last week, things seemed up in the air about guild bases and their fate with proposed changes. I was able to speak to Akalix, our community manager, to try and clarify the most important takeaway facts. So here are the three most important things to know. Number 1. Guild bases that exist now will be left in the world where they are now. Number 2. Guild bases will continue to work as they have in the past until the Guild Base version 2 launch, wherein the Tabard teleport system will be repurposed, and the team is currently looking at options to allow travel to these old bases in the open world. Number 3. The Guild Base version 2 will not be released until late 2024 at the absolute earliest. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. Now on to server announcements. Druids rejoice! In the upcoming 1.17 patch, all your glyphs will move to your spellbook for easier access. No more fumbling with your keyring to switch your form's appearance. Just one more quality of life boost for WoW's nature-loving jack-of-all-trades. Also announced for 1.17, this: raiding tanks. Get hungry for a new food buff arriving in the patch. La Fiche au Chocolat will grant 1% dodge and 4 defense for 15 minutes. The chocolate fish dish that started as a meme will be appearing on raider menus everywhere, for better or for worse. Bon appetit. That's all for server announcements and top stories. Now let's shift over to the changelog. There is a lot I'd like to cover from the August 9th changelog. Some weeks, changelogs will list things like minor grammar fix or added item to disenchant table, and those are pretty easy to skip over. Well, the changelog this week packed a wallop. I actually had to try and trim down all the changelog notes I was going to cover just for time's sake. So let's start with a whole rodeo of Changelog Roundup. In the name of wiser PvP, there are some new restrictions to prevent accidental flagging. You can no longer cast Lightning Shield on other players if they are flagged for PvP and you are not, to prevent shamans with the Thunderhead talent from accidentally flagging themselves. The Thunderhead talent added in class changes allows shaman to give another player their Lightning Shield. Also included in the changelog were tweaks to spells that chain to multiple targets like multi-shot. They should no longer target flagged players if the attacker is not flagged. These changes are largely made so that hardcore characters don't accidentally flag for PvP and meet an untimely demise. The Temple of Anchorage got a bit more forgiving in the latest changelog. Scarum's mind control ability will no longer make targets immune to stuns, allowing quick control for affected players, so that longer-term crowd controls like Polymorph and Fear can be cast before their mind-controlled targets wreak havoc on their once allies. Pulling Mordresh Fire Eye will now cause nearby skeletons to aggro as well. Mordresh Fire Eye is a boss in the Razorfen's Down dungeon. His only crime? Rocking too hard in front of his adoring fans. Dazzledor on the Bug Tracker reported that attacking Mordresh directly wasn't aggroing any of the skeletons surrounding the bone pile, which seems odd because surely Mordresh's fans would defend him. Thanks to the August 9th changelog, pulling the headbanging skeleton boss without care will result in an unruly mosh pit once more. Blackrock Depths arena victors can now walk the arena stands in peace. A bug let spectators stay hostile after winning the second arena fight, which, as the bug reporter once more, Dazzledore, said, "You basically beat their legal system, and they have to honor the law. Guards will now behave post-duel. Justice served for BRD gladiators. Just be careful beyond the arena grounds. Word of your victory won't spread too quickly." Anchor's Edge is an area added in the Mysteries of Azeroth and acts as a questing hub for Alliance in the Horde-dominated region near the Echo Isles. However, the soldiers there were having pathing issues for any Horde members going there to assault the base, in the form of soldiers walking through walls, as reported by Potent Turtle WoW on the GitHub bug tracker. Though it should be noted that the problem has occurred as far back as late 2022, as reported by Ornithorynk. The changelog says this specific problem is being dealt with directly, but there was also a note at the end of the changelog stating that the team has fixed a lot of issues with NPCs pathfinding and their evading in custom zones. This is an ongoing process, so be careful in custom zones for now, but know that it is being worked on. A long-standing and to many newcomers curious quirk of Turtle WoW's loot tables for Onyxia and Ragnaros is being changed. The August 9th changelog officially removed the double drop of Tier 2 helm and/or leggings from their respective bosses. For a long time, both Ragnaros and Onyxia have dropped 4 of the corresponding Tier 2 pieces on their loot table, as a long-held-over tradition from the days of a much smaller population. Raids would happen much less often. This policy will revert loot tables to their vanilla behavior of only dropping 2 per kill, not per faction. The Timbermaw Ancestor was recently observed not healing the players that summoned them. The Timbermaw Ancestor is a pet that can be summoned through trinket known as the Defender of Timbermaw. The summoned pet is supposed to walk alongside the player and heal them up for a while before going back to their ghostly realm. The trinket is hard to get and requires exalted status with the Timbermaw tribe. According to Grisby37, the Timbermaw Ancestor refused to heal at all, but in the changelog, the glitch has been fixed and the Timbermaw Ancestor should heal their summoner once more. It came to the attention of some sour hardcore players that sometimes friendly duels can result in not-so-friendly deaths of their characters. Frostclaws on the GitHub bug tracker tells a sad story of a late hit coming in after the duel was decided and permanently killing one of the characters involved. In response, the Turtle team has said they will extend the immunity to damage period for duelers to help avoid this tragic fate. Personally, I just play it safe and avoid any dueling, but adrenaline junkies are hard to dissuade. Conjured mana oranges can now be used to feed hunter pets. These pets all have different foods they prefer. Some pets can eat fruit, but the ubiquitous conjured mana orange, though a fruit, did not count as a fruit for the purpose of feeding a hunter's pet. The changelog stated that the oranges can now be made to feed pets, thanks in part to a bug report made by Petricos. Enjoy the extra vitamin C, our little furry friends. There were a few more stories I would have liked to report from the Changelog Roundup, but time is limited and I just wanted to keep to the most important ones. So, now that that's done, let's go over and take a look at the auction house with Market Watch. Welcome to Market Watch, where we track some of the big commodities to give a regular checkup on the health of the Turtle WoW economy. Before we start, there is one point of housekeeping I need to clear up. During times of server population cap, I believe the little robots working for superduperauctions.com, where I get all my data from, are having trouble scanning the auction house. For full transparency, when that happens for graphs and averages, the null values are ignored. But that does mean more could be going on, so be careful if you're on during peak hours. Now, let's go to the stocks. Black Lotus. The 2-week period has shown steady growth, up 2 gold in the short period with extreme levels of volatility, having peaks as high as 31 gold and as low as 21. Long-term signs are indicating that the rapid growth of the previous month might be slowing down and heading back to a daily average closer to 25 gold. Grom's Blood. Since July 31st, the alchemy reagent has slowly decreased in value by about 8 silver, but since the price per item is comparatively smaller, that accounts for a 10% drop in value. I made sure to zoom in the chart to illustrate that. Historically, it seems that the demon-tainted herb still has more room to drop in value as farmers get more established on the server, and supply floods in. Cured Rugged Hide, an unexpected rise, even if modest, came to the leatherworking good. The price came up nearly 5%, the first substantial gain for this particular good in a long time. In the long history though, the price has a long way to go before it starts matching its May time values of over 24 gold. Arcane Crystals. Following a heroic rally on the 4th, where the precious gem peaked at 36 gold, the price mellowed out finally, seeking some stability near the 28 gold mark. It seems every week I think Arcane Crystals might actually find a new market level. Might this new 28 gold mark be it? Or will a rush of miners start flooding the market and prices will drop? Mooncloth. Tailors have had little to be happy with lately as the mooncloth market has continued to slowly drift down 15% these last 2 weeks. But a sudden rally on the 5th followed by a price freefall on the 7th does mean that there is volatility just underneath the surface. Nevertheless, historically, it is undeniable that the price is still seeking its new market floor far away from 30 gold highs of late May. Large Brilliant Shards. These last 2 weeks, the enchanting crystal has drifted down in value by about 4%, which continues the overall trend of this commodity since mid-June to start lowering in value, down 7% since we started tracking it. Stone Scale Eels. Though traditionally the eels on the 2-week charts is normally pretty flat, the fish is starting to show signs of increasing price, up nearly 15% in the short term. Historically though, this kind of price fluctuation does seem consistent with what has happened in the past, up and down as steady as the ocean waves where these eels can be found. The SNV6. By all their powers combined, here is the only Turtle WoW market index, arbitrarily telling you things that may or may not be true about the market. But certainly, we do have graphs to back them up. Arcane Crystals mellowing out and other timed crafted goods lowering values has contributed to the index lowering back to 17.46, which implies that inflation is being kept in check despite the massive population growth. And, much to everyone's pleasure, your gold is still valuable on the server. Now is a good time to start saving up gold if you can in preparation for the 1.17 patch. That is all the time we have for Market Watch. I appreciate all your feedback since I am but a simple orc and not really an economist. Now, let's rejoin Vrograg back on Frey Island for our feature piece. For today's feature, I'd like to speak more in editorial, so be advised much of the feature segment won't be hard verifiable news, but will more so be a reflection of my observations surrounding the feature topic, guild bases. A topic that can be divisive, but as you'll find out, could have the power to bring people together more than separate us. It was Tuesday for me, and Tuesday is Newsday here in the Fish Slayer household. And just one day previous, I heard about some controversy bubbling over a guild-based proposal that the Turtle WoW team put out in the forums. However, I was busy working feverishly to record audio, machinima footage, grab assets, edit everything together, and all I had time to do was get a quick summary of the most recent version of the guild-based announcement. In the following days though, I found many people in the comments of the news broadcast mentioning how they felt wronged by the original thread getting deleted, because there was a substantial amount of reactions given. And the old thread wasn't just locked, it was deleted from users altogether. On that point, I did see proof from Akalix, the community manager, that admins still have access to it, so at least they can still view it for the purposes of feedback. And that's where the drama starts. I make no effort to hide that this program does not care to report on drama, and by that I mean disagreements parties have, be it between players, guilds, GMs, developers, or management. The only time I will ever peek behind the dark curtain of the he said, she said is when there is a reason to believe a substantial abuse of power has happened, because as a community program, anyone who is harming the community by abusing their power should be named and shamed. Now, I'm not an arbiter or a judge. My role whenever something like this pops up is to investigate, verify claims, and get comments from people when I can confront them with the evidence I have compiled. In the case of something like drama, I have to step very lightly, because usually there are multiple parties that feel wronged or hurt and multiple perspectives. I also strongly believe in harm reduction and preventing harassment if anything I might report on might incite harassment. It is exhausting work, and I'm still liable to get something wrong. When I did the Teddy Fear story, I messed up a lot of things, but I did the best job I could. And in that, there was a clearly bad actor. This matter was different. Did the administration ignore early feedback about guild house plans only to reverse course when the community flipped out? Or did an old half-baked announcement come out and had to be deleted because of how erroneous it was? The truth of the matter depends on perspective, access, personal feelings about the team, and I could go on and on. I was starting to grow frustrated with the investigation, which included screenshots, leaks, snippets of conversations, and of course my own conversations with sources and officials. But it was then when I saw the real story worth reporting on. The guild-based debacle acted as an example of how we treat each other on the server. People were upset, and rightly so. Players in particular, the dedicated role players, felt like they might be losing their home. Management was being bombarded with insults, and in one case an IP grabber was sent to a member of management. Emotions were running hot, and the victim in all of this was the community. Turtle WoW is a game, but it is also a community. If something is said or done that makes you upset, from team members to casual players, remember that on the other side of the keyboard, there is a person. They could be wrong, they could be acting stupid, but to act in hatred towards someone else in the community is antithetical to what this community is about. And even if you are someone who reacts to that hatred, apologize. Try to make amends. We're all human, except for the people that always post on the bug tracker. They might actually be robots or aliens. I'm still looking into it. Nevertheless, don't let controversy and disagreement break the bonds of what makes this community great. We're all different people from all over the world with different cultures, different playstyles, different goals. We're never going to agree on anything. But that should never escalate to attacks. Screw drama. I don't care about what separates us. I care about what brings us together. Just like guild bases do. Well, that's all the news we have for today. Another fun week in the books for Turtle WoW. I appreciate you joining me for another broadcast. Keep an eye out for the new changelog, which will be posted today, or it should be anyway, and we can go over it together next week. Remember, Turtle WoW news fans, to like and subscribe to the channel. I regularly monitor my comment section and am happy to answer any questions or take feedback. Whether it's a quick whisper in-game or a 3,000 word long essay written in the comment section, I appreciate all the love and support the community has given me. Just a small point of order, I will be off on travels this weekend, so I won't be able to stream this Saturday, but the weekend after I should be back to my normal streaming schedule. Sounds like another brawl broke out again behind me. I might have to keep moving. Thank you once again for joining me. Safe travels wherever you go, and remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge.